So we're going to be looking at scaling into a position today. Going to go through some examples and then look at it something live on TradingView and NinjaTrader, so we can get through quite a lot of examples. So just be aware that this is software driven. So let's go through this anyway. Okay. So traditional scaling involves buying shares as the price decreases in a stock. That's traditional scaling, and that's what investors would normally do. To scale in means to set a target price and then invest in volume as the stock falls below that price. So then that buying continues until the price stops falling. Okay, so that scaling in, the traditional scaling in, lowers the average purchase price as the trader's paying less each time it scales in. Okay. However, the investor ends up purchasing a losing stock sometimes, quite a lot, because it's pretty much guesswork in that you're literally buying as it goes down, but you don't know when it's going to turn around and if it will. Okay, so you could be having massive drawdowns there. So xBrat scaling when trading futures. So this involves scaling or adding contracts to the position as momentum increases. So you've still got to follow the rules, and we'll go through those rules again. So in this case, it will increase the average purchase price. So you've got to get them in quite early because you're paying more each time. But unlike traditional scaling, this method uses technology to understand momentum behavior. And a trader is then therefore getting on the steam train before it leaves the station as it's gathering speed, if you like. Just imagine that the institutions and the big boys are getting that steam engine moving away, and all of a sudden that momentum starts to go. You get that initial signal from the Slingshot, the xBrat algo, the range breakout. And as it's gathering momentum, we look to scale in and add contracts reasonably early, depending on where those next support and resistance zones are. But we just need rules to ensure that we get off before the end of the line and before it's too late. So we're going to go through those. So there is a risk with this. So understanding that you need to understand the maximum contracts you're able to trade with your account size. Okay. This is very important because the more contracts you add to your position, the more risk you're going to have. So rule of thumb for margin, okay? So this is my rule of thumb, okay? It's quite conservative, and we'll go into that. So this is an example with copper, E-mini futures for one contract. So the initial margin required by NinjaTrader is $6,050. The intraday margin required is 3025. So that's a total of $9,075. I then times that by 1.3. So sensible margin required for one contract of copper is $12,000. Okay. So the total contracts to trade, depending on account size, is the table below. 12 to 24 is 1. Okay. 25 to 34 is 2, 35 to 44 is 3, 45 to 54 is 4, 55 to 64 is 5. I'm not going to go above that, but you get where I'm coming from here. It's very, very conservative, and I'll tell you why in a little while. So micro futures example, this is micro oil MCL. Initial margin required is $572. Intraday margin is $100, so $672. Times that by 1.3 again, that's approximately $900 per one contract of micro. So 900 to 1.8 is 1. Let's round it off then. 2 to 3K is 2. 3 to 4K is 3. 4 to 5K is 4. 5 to 6K is 5. Okay. And that's how you should be with micros as well. This is very, very important. So why be conservative? Drawdowns. Okay. This is the main reason why you're conservative, because drawdowns are from peaks to trough, but the trough can be deep. But overall, you're going to grow your account over a quarter, over 6 months, a year. but you will get drawdowns, and you need to be able to withstand those drawdowns and still trade that that one contract or that two contracts with the margin available. But if you dip below the next level, it's going to take you a little longer to fill that hole. But so imagine you start with a $12,000 account, okay, like I did back in the middle of June. That went up to 17,500, but I've had a drawdown now and it's down at 16,500. It's still a fantastic, it's nearly 40% increase in account value in 3 months. But I've suffered because of what's been going off in the world. Quite, it's not drastic, but it's a drawdown. So I have to be careful making sure that as I'm going through, this is why we have those things, 12 to 25. You only trade one contract of E-mini. I've been trading in there 7 contracts of the micros as well. So the idea is that even if you're doing really well and you're getting good growth, you are at some stage going to get a drawdown. Missiles flying over to Israel. There's a lot of things going off with oil, and then indexes. Lots of things going off over the last few weeks and stuff, and that's really affected. It's been very twitchy. So today I stopped the trading. Okay, I need things to settle down, but I've had the drawdown. I'm still within my 12 to 25, so I'm still trading the one contract. I wait, be patient, and then start to trade again. So the reasons why I have those very, very conservatives, because you will suffer drawdowns, okay? And those peaks to troughs, and then to return and to fill those holes and go to the next peak and stuff, it's continual, okay? If you think you can come into trading and have a straight line up, stop now, switch off the webinar and go and find something else to do, okay? You will always have drawdowns. If I didn't have drawdowns, I'd be a billionaire right now and I wouldn't be doing this webinar, okay? The thing is that drawdowns happen and you need to accept them, but you need to have enough in your account balance to withstand those. So imagine if you started exactly with $12,000 and you hit a drawdown period, okay? That's going to draw down against what you've got, and you're going to go below that $12,000. Then you're going to have to switch to micros, get those multipliers right to fill that hole. Sod's law is, you could start on the upturn for the strategy or strategies that you're trading, but at some stage it's going to draw down, and if you're unlucky, you will start and you will get a drawdown instantaneously. So you've got to be very, very careful with that. So again, at $12,000, who now would trade one contract immediately? Or actually, would you just trade 7 or 8 micros just to build it up to 15,000 or so to give you that bit of buffer? Okay, answers in the chat box there. What would you do with $12,000? Would you still go micros for a little while to build that buffer for drawdowns, or would you go straight into? There's no right or wrong answer. It's how you feel about that. Okay, Bill, yes, go micros straight away. Very, very important to understand that. If you're starting right at the beginning of the threshold, just go back to the previous threshold, build up, just in case you're in that drawdown period, because it happens, okay? Yeah. One thing you'll learn about me is I'm very conservative, okay? So when I started that 12K account, it went to nearly 50% profit in 3 months. But then we've had the drawdown, so around 40% profit now. So, but to begin with, when I started, it was just micros, and then started to build in those single contracts. And the only reason I share that account, because I started it purely for that purpose, to show you the journey, okay, for normal people with a small account. Okay, so let's move on. So scaling rules, you've got to know your maximum number of contracts, and we've already covered that, but it's very important that you understand that and get that. And again, watch this video again, get those down and stick to those rules. And then we go to our normal trading rules. Signal, confirmation, fresh air equals trading opportunity. Then, if we want to scale into that, and we'll go through some examples, we still need the signal, the confirmation, and the fresh air for those scaling opportunities. Use sensible and consistent trade management strategies. You don't change the trade management strategies just because you're scaling in. You still use the same trade management strategies. And understand the best times of the day for scaling in on the trades of your instrument. And a lot of you know this been me before. You need to understand, Ismail, how about prop firms? So prop firms are different. They have different rules to normal trading. Okay, so I can't comment on that. But again, if you're on a 250 type account, you'd be on 10, 15 contracts maximum. You've got to think of your drawdowns there and understand the strategy that you're trading. But those drawdown rules are a lot different to normal trading, okay? Because they're designed for people to but only for a few people to pass. So I won't comment any more on that. So understand the best times of the day for trading. So, for example, scaling for me for copper is done London Open for an hour or so after London Open, because that's when we get some really good moves. It may only happen once or twice a week, but that for copper, that's the really sort of big thing for me. That's the right time of the day. If it's oil, we wait for the oil pit open. And then we look for some real good momentum, and then we'd scale in for that first hour or so after that. Again, understanding that we've got the US Open half an hour later, we may have PMI at 15 minutes after that. So there's a lot of other things to think about when you're scaling in during that US session. Okay, so this is an example on the 3-minute time frame with copper. So again, this is all about Confluence. So this is on the NinjaTrader platform. I've got my xBrat algo 6-star buy at this point here. Okay. Sensibly, I want to be going along above this 15-minute zone from the Guardian zones here. So that's my first entry, if you like. I've got so much fresh air up above to the next resistance zone, it's not even worth measuring. Okay. And then it doesn't get in straight away. It pulls back, finds support on that overlap of those two 15-minute zones. There's no coincidence there. There's a lot of confluence. Pushes through, takes it in that stop market order. But the very next candle, we get a signal now from our VWAP Predator. And I'm going to go, VWAP Predator is what we're using, okay, for scaling in. And you'll see that in lots of forms. So then we can scale in and put a stop market order above one tick above there. It pulls back. That's fine. Okay. It comes back in, takes us in the trade. Once it's took us in the trade, guess what? Very next candle, momentum's going. We get another signal. Stop market order of 1 or 2 ticks above that candle. Okay. Then we get another one immediately after. Okay. Really, really important there. So again, it's about account size here. HG, 4 contracts. This is a $45,000 to $55,000 account that you'll be looking for there. We got our average holding position all the way up here. We're going to be using the VWAP Predator moving to red on this ribbon here to actually take us out of the trade. Okay. So let me move my ugly mug out of the way down the bottom somewhere. So total 4 contracts requires $45,000 to $54,000 account size. 4 contracts with 65 ticks in total. So that 65 is measured from our average holding position to the close, $3,250. So that's a 6.5% increase on the account size. And that is what we're looking for, okay? It may only happen once a week, once every 10 days. But when the stars are aligned, and we always have a catalyst with a different indicator, different strategy. In this case, it was the xBrat algo. In the next example, it's a different one. But the idea is we've always got the catalyst. We've always got the confirmation. Look at the buy Depth Heatmap here. All 6 green. Loads of confirmation there. This is looking pretty bullish. Making sure we're clear of this support and resistance zone. Then we're getting in quick succession some extra contracts in, and then we just let them run, okay? As long as this ribbon remains green, we stay in the trade. Turns red there, get out. Simple. Next example. So this is micro oil. Okay, so let's do a micro. This is 2610 on the Unirenko, so it's quite a fast time frame. And this time we have the Slingshot as our catalyst, and then obviously the VWAP Predator to give us those additional contracts. Okay, so first of all, we get a type 1 buy signal at this point here. So we get initial impulse move up. Remember, we're not going to take these VWAP Predator signals at this point. This is important. We need the catalyst of our other indicator, different strategy. Okay, we get it. All 6 time frames agree. We put the stock market order on, but it doesn't take us in. Okay, it pulls back deeper into the zone, starts to come back again, and we get a buy signal at this point. Okay, so let's start off with 2 contracts. Yeah, and then we get another buy signal at this point. We get 2 more buy signals. We get another one. Still getting the confirmation. Lots of fresh air up to that 15-minute zone. We get even more, okay? Again, the amount of contracts you add is, you maximize it. You don't start all in. You don't go all in straight away. You're always looking for the runner, and once you've got momentum, feel more confident in adding more contracts. But the maximum you can do depends on that little table that I showed you. So again, we got an entry here, second entry, third entry after 2 there. Okay, just this, another entry. Okay, then we pull back. We get another couple of signals up here. Now, for me, we've still got quite a bit of fresh air, and I'll go into some of the calculations of those in a little while. But at this point, this particular first buy signal, there was yellow in the bias depth heat map. I didn't have all 6 green out of green, didn't take it. But I got another one reasonably quickly, so I took that because I've still got lots of fresh air. Remember, my trailing stop printed by this here, by the Slingshot, is my stop. So my stop to entry, to risk to reward to there is still over 1 to 1.6. So I've still got signal, confirmation, fresh air. So increments of 2 contracts per scaling in the entry. So it's a total of 10 contracts with an average holding of 71.20. Okay, 120 ticks, that is, with times 10 contracts is $1,200 profit. So an account size of $6,000 can take that increase of 20% on the account size. And that's how powerful scaling is with futures contracts. Start low, understand that you want to add to it. And if you don't add to it and it runs out of juice, that's fine. So you haven't put that extra risk on right at the beginning. So this is micro oil going short. So the hash green lines is just me making the slide deck. That's all, Sylvia. Okay. So now we have a type 1 sell signal. Okay. So that's our catalyst. All 6 time frames are red. Got loads of fresh air down to this green 30-minute zone here. Loads. Okay. So that's our first entry, if you like. We get a sell signal from the VWAP Predator at this point. Again, lots of fresh air. Got confirmation. We get another sell signal at this point. Might be a little dodgy, almost on the cusp of 5 to 6 there. We get others here. This time, you see how it pulls back into the pullback zones of the Slingshot, but we don't get a Slingshot signal. But holding those zones and then coming back and giving me a VWAP Predator signal, that still gives me a lot of confidence for that move. Okay. And then finally, we get another type 1 sell signal at this point on the Slingshot. We've still got lots of fresh air. So we got an entry here for the type 1 sell, second entry, third entry, fourth entry, and then a 5th entry further down. Now, if this has gone a long way, remember we're using the trailing stop for the Slingshot at this point down here. Okay. if you are maxed out and you see this as a massive, massive move all the way down here, and you don't want to reduce your, bring your average holding position all the way down, don't take that trade. But for me, this is where it all started with a type 1 sell. This is a measured pullback with a type 1 sell. It could goes to target 2, and that's our probability. So this time, increments of 2 contracts per scaling in the entry. Because we took that later one on the type 1 sell, the average holding position went to 70.70, 90 ticks, times 10 contracts, $900 profit. Starting account size, $6,000, increase of 15% on the account size in one trade. So it's almost like turbo boosting when the momentum's going, turbo boosting those profits on your account size. So this is a real trade. So very, very proud of one of my apprentices, Andrew. One of the ASBs that we have is the range breakout. So he's working on optimization for FDAX. Okay, so it's the futures for the DAX. Very, very strong trade this was. So this is one contract. This made around $2,485 on that contract. He hit the target. It's just a textbook trade now. So that's with one contract. So this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So when we're looking at the range breakout on an index, we'll look at a 15-minute time frame, on oil, copper, gold, that sort of thing on a 10-minute time frame. But you see all these little pullbacks and little rejections of the highs on that 15-minute. This is where we start to look at a multi-time frame. So we look at a different time frame, predominantly the 5-minute, to look for opportunities to scale into this trade. Because, a lot of these breakout trades, when they happen, do gather some really good momentum. You may only get 3 or 4 a month, but they're really strong. In fact, today we had a really good short on the same strategy. So that was really, really good. That was another $2,000 trade. So if I now take this down to 2485.92. So that was a real trade. Now, this is that same FDAX on the 5-minute. We can see that original entry here. So you got the other chart running side by side, and that's that original entry at this point here. Now, for me to add anything to this, it's got to go above the highest point on that candle. Okay, highest point on that candle, once it's breached that, okay, it's good to go. So initially we went in, we did get a buy signal at this point in the VWAP Predator. This is not the way we scale. We want to make sure that the start line's pushed through, and the actual candle that pushed through that original start line was a buy signal on the VWAP Predator. Okay, so again, we go 1 or 2 ticks above there. We've got full confirmation. We've got so much fresh air above, it's not even worth counting, because FDAX, with it, we used the 30 to 60-minute sort of support and resistance zones from the Guardian zone, nothing there. So that's my first entry. Now, with indexes, it's slightly different to, especially on the 5-minute, rather compared to something like 3-minute Heikin Ashi or the Uni Renko. I always expect with indexes that we have impulse moves, pull back, impulse moves, pull back, impulse moves, pull back. So it's about understanding behavior. In an apprenticeship, we talk about behavior every bloody day, okay, because it's important. So we've had the range breakout. It's pulled back into the range. We've gathered some more momentum. We've added one more contract here. I'm not interested in adding another contract until we pull back. Okay, and there's a little bit of profit taking. So we don't take this next candle. Okay, so the next one for me is we go up, we come down, we go up, we come down. Then I get a buy signal at this point during that pullback. Why am I interested in this particular one? Because it rejects the lows. And how do I know it's on higher volume? Purely because I've got a buy signal on the VWAP Predator. It will only print that if it's got more volume. So that's a rejection of lows on higher volume. Okay, that's very important for me. That's behavior on this index. So got the range breakout, added a contract at this point when it's broken through that initial target, that initial entry. Now I've waited, understood the behavior, come back, rejected the lows, get in above there. That's now my, all 6 time frames, lots of fresh air, average holding position now. And then we get out at the same target that we set because we've optimized that FDAX for the average move after a breakout. So now that back on the 15-minute chart, you see those entries here, see the average holding position. So just scaling in 2 more contracts gives a $5,200 profit compared to the 2,485.92. Okay, so you've more than doubled it by being sensible and understanding the behavior. Okay, so this is all possible by adding the VWAP Predator to your trading toolbox. This is very important. So it turbo boosts the move. So you still got to stick to the rules. It's very important that these rules are not broken. Okay, understand what margin you can start with, understanding how you can scale up, and still using those signal confirmation fresh air rules. Now, behavior takes time to understand the behavior of the instrument, and this is why we say get married to one instrument, only trade one instrument. Over time, you understand how that behavior really manifests itself, and those different strategies kick in. So VWAP Predator color codes. So there's no dash green lines. It does color the candles, and I'm going to go through an example of that now on TradingView. Okay, so because I just want to go through some examples on TradingView with our VWAP Predator. So go Euro US dollar, for example. So what happens with a VWAP Predator? It colors the candles in different. The signal candles are colored in pink for the sell signals here. So this is Euro US dollar today on the 3-minute time frame. Okay, 3-minute Heikin Ashi. We get a type 3 sell up here on the so it's a trend failure on the slingshot. Okay, right at the VWAP as well. Okay, so we can go short. We then get a sell signal on the VWAP Predator. Look at the bias depth heat map down below. You've got the confirmation. Okay. This buy signal here, this type 3 buy, we've only got 5 out of 6 green. We wouldn't take it. We need 6 out of 6. That's the rules. We don't break it. Okay. So type 3, type 3 and a VWAP Predator. There's so much confluence there. It's unbelievable. Okay. We get in. We add more, we add more, we add more. It pulls back. We get a type 2 and a type 3, type 2 and a type 1 sell now. Then just as it starts to move down, we get the sell signals from the VWAP Predator. Pulls back up, we get another sell signal from the VWAP Predator, hits target 2, fantastic. If you're in the target 2 club, take profit on all of yours. Okay, eventually just come back and take out a trailing stop. Just above target 2. So very, very good trade. And again, the VWAP Predator. So you'll notice here, I haven't got all of the lines for the VWAP Predator because when I go into here, and it's in NinjaTrader, your terms are transparent. Okay. But on TradingView, you would go into VWAP Predator, into the signals. You see here, I've just got the VWAP. I can put the bands in if I want. You see them appear on the chart. I can also color them in if I want, but I like to keep clean charts. So what happens is I take all of those off, just leave the VWAP on, and leave the signal color bar. You can change the color of those if you wanted to, and that's where we are right now. The rules are the same for every single indicator, Sylvia. Signal, confirmation, fresh air. Okay, those are the basic rules, but also understanding where we are in the day, how your instrument performs at certain times of the day, what economic data is going to affect it. We've got an OPEC meeting today, for example. It's a bad week. We've started with Israel and Iran. Oil price has shot up, behaviors all changed, for example. Then that's affected copper, it's affected the indexes. And then we've got the OPEC meeting today. They're going to increase production because Iraq are being naughty and producing too much, and they're trying to price them. There's loads of stuff going off this week. So it's understanding what's going to influence your particular instrument. I go to XAU USD. Now, this is really, really cool. So one thing you get on TradingView, but you don't get on NinjaTrader is a Renko, ATR Renko, which is pretty cool. So in this situation, this is gold spot. We get a 3-star buy signal here, 6 out of 6 we go long. We get another buy signal at this point with 6 out of 6 we can add to it. We get another 2 at this point here. Okay, remember all the time we're looking for that risk to reward to our next support and resistance zone. Okay, and then similar here, we get a buy signal in and around where the type 1 buy is there. So really good opportunity to go up to target 2. Really, really cool. There's this just keeps going really. So what I want to do is I just want to bring over a NinjaTrader chart as well. So I'm going to bring over Zone Trader Pro on MCL for a minute. Now, remember, what we've got going off right now is not a great time to trade. So you'll see that the bias depth heat map didn't get any of these because we had a change in direction. Yesterday we were going up and up and up and up, and then we're having a bit of sell-off today. We're getting some people that went long a lot of contracts taking profit. So let's go back to yesterday and understand what was happening and where we could add those contracts. So with Zone Trader Pro, we're looking for fresh air. This is a 5-minute time frame on oil, and we're looking for confirmation and fresh air. So it got 2 break-even trades yesterday because it tried, but it didn't really get anywhere because of what was going off. Because there's too much twitchiness in the markets. But you can see here, I've got the VWAP Predator on there, but you can't see any of the lines because what I've done on the indicator is I've gone in on the VWAP Predator and changed all the colors to transparent, okay, except for the buy signal bars. So what I've done is just cleaned up the chart in reality because that's important, yeah? So again, is achievable on NinjaTrader to do the same thing. And this has been the problem with oil recently is we're stuck between these support and resistance zones. So very, very difficult to trade right now until we get a reset and we get some fresh air. But again, these are the guardian zones. So on NinjaTrader, these are automated support and resistance zones. Now, I am very proud of these. These guardian zones are what I've drawn manually for 20 years. So we took that logic and we do them automatically now. But I just want to show you how bloody accurate they are, okay? Really, really strong zones that are tested so many times. So if you haven't got the fresh air, you do not trade because that is very, very important. And I can't stress that enough. You need fresh air to trade into because those support and resistance zones are decision points for institutional traders when they buy and sell and put orders on. Okay. Again, we look at a roller coaster right now. We have been getting a roller coaster ride, and to be honest, if we didn't have the 60-minute on there's some great trades. But again, we have not got a lot of bias depth heat map confirmation there. So it's not the sort of trades that we'd be looking for. There was a nice trade last night that was pretty good. So let's try and add if we go to indicators. So again, I'll do it on TradingView in a minute. I'm going to go down to the VWAP Predator. And I'm just going to quickly go transparent on all of these. I just want to keep the chart clean. Plus, also it's about loading them up whilst something is running. And so I want those good. I want the VWAP on, but I want everything else on transparent. So you can add it to the same chart. Just spend a little time doing this on NinjaTrader just to make sure. We don't want to do it. Just to make sure that you are keeping the chart as clean as possible. Won't be too much longer. Transparent. Long entry is good, short entry is good. Let's get rid of the fast EMA for now, because I can use the trailing stop on roller coaster. Okay, and let's apply that. Let's just hope there's not a lot of loading up to do here. So any questions on scaling while we're waiting for this to load, because it may take some time while that's happening. Let me just make sure I've applied that. Okay, yeah. There we go. Pressed it twice. I've got a lot running, guys, on the machine. Okay, so I know it's a bit of a tall order. So let's go to somebody give me a ticker. Let's have a look at somebody's ticker. Let me have a look at whether it's a stock, futures, forex, YM. Okay, let's have a look at YM. Let's go to YM. Okay. So we've got to do a little work on finding the groove for YM. This 3 minute is not the groove. So let's go 10 a minute, see what's going off. Yeah. Not really the groove. I think we'll go Renko and we'll go down to 45 seconds. So with TradingView, even though it says 45 seconds, it isn't 45 seconds, okay? So it takes the 45 seconds, it does the Renko and gives you an ATR 14. There's a lot of real sort of calculations in there that work in that way. So I'm not saying this is the right time frame for this. I'm just looking back. It looks reasonably okay with the VWAP, but not the slingshot. So we might go 1 minute. Just bear with me. A lot of the time, yeah, that's better. That's a lot better with a slingshot. It's about understanding the groove of your particular instrument. And then we'll check ZB. Okay, so that I've just left the VWAP on there, remember. So now, one thing that we can see here is the type 1 buy, type 2 buy at this point here. We do get another one at this point, and the current setting here just tips us out at break even. This is something when you start to understand behavior is trying to figure out for this particular chart set, what is the best setting for that trailing stop, okay? But there was other opportunity to add to that contract at this point here, okay? Really, really strong. There are other opportunities on this type 2 sell, for example, at this point here. Then two bricks later, we get a sell signal on the VWAP Predator, and it really just motors down there. So YM's good. I'd have to do, I don't trade YM, so it would take me a while to understand which time frame is the best, what's in the groove for those particular, and that's pretty good as well, actually, the 3 minute on the Renko there. Really, really strong moves. Fantastic moves, in fact. Type 3 buy, trend failure, coming all the way up Very, very good. But you can see with, even though I've gone 3 minutes, I'm on the Renko ATR. This goes over quite a few days. Okay. So we've got to think this type 3 buy at this point here is on the 11th of September. Okay. It just keeps going up and up and up until the 17th of September. So you've really got to understand these timeframes on this Renko ATR chart. Takes a bit of time. Let's go to ZB. So what I want to do on a ZB is take it off Renko, put it on Heikin-Ashi, and probably go 15 minutes, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. So maybe 10. Let me just put roller coaster on there. Yeah, got a lot of confluence there. So we can see here, we don't take these sell signals because we don't get the, remember our catalyst is the slingshot. In this case, it's a type 3 buy. We do get another buy signal from the roller coaster at that point, but there was no real additions until that point here. It was a decent move. Now again, ZB, it's a you've got to be on a bigger time frame as ZB. So let's go 30 minute, more of an intraday swing. Oh yeah, I mean, I know the 30-minute works very well, but then because we're on 30 minutes, we've got to change our VWAP Predator to at least day trading. Okay. If not swings. I mean, there are some really decent moves here. Let me just change that to swing trading. And there's a really good move to add to ZB as well with the VWAP Predator. This latest move down was pretty strong. I'm not sure on the VWAP Predator because I don't trade it, whether we need to be on day trading or swing trading, because I don't understand the instrument. And that's one of the biggest things really, is understanding the instrument very, very well. Because at this point here, we get that signal and the signal's no good for me. We only start to get some real good momentum there. So again, ZB, not overly sure on how that behaves. I have traded it in the past, but not very often. So let's go back to this here. Wow. Okay. Now this is a move on copper. Last night. So we get a roller coaster here. Signal is this candle here. You're welcome. Wow. Okay. So this is phenomenal. I mean, again, I didn't give you a roller coaster example, but again, remember the catalyst is our, whatever it is, roller coaster, slingshot, xBrat algo, range breakout. This is a 55 tick Heikin-Ashi, something I'm trying at the moment with a roller coaster for copper. It's very, very good. Okay, we get that signal to buy there. We can add a contract here, add another one here, add another one here. This just keeps going. But remember, we're always running the stop with our training stop. Every single strategy that we have a trade management strategy for. This one's built in. This is a monster move, okay? Really, really strong. Remember, $45,000 to $55,000 account is 4 contracts. So we've got 1 contract going in, 2, 3, 4. We just let it run then, okay? We let it run. So average holding position really is so 2, 3, 4. So that's our jumping position there, roughly. And then we get out there. 4 contracts, 56 ticks. 4 contracts is $50. So that's $2,600-ish profit in one trade. And that trade was in for 2034 until 2212. Okay, so less than 2 hours. Great trade. But it goes to show you that actually combining works very, very well. So I just want to pop this back up a second. What I've just been talking about are confluences, leading you to understand that. And this is my book, Confluence, Not Coincidence, and I'm sure most of you have read it already. I just want to reiterate that imagine Confluence as a river, okay? A river looked at 10 miles away. You don't even know the direction of the flow or the strength of that directional flow. But what I've talked about here is having that first initial catalyst. So first of all, you understand the direction it's going because you've been given a signal from the roller coaster, for example, or the slingshot. So that's the first information that we've got that, hey, this river's going in this particular direction. And then what the VWAP Predator does is lifts the lid off all of those tributaries, and you can see which ones are feeding in to give that river more strength, more momentum in the directional flow. And that's what Confluence is all about, is understanding, yes, the direction of the flow, but understanding the strength of that directional flow. And that's what I talk about in the book a lot, okay? Very, very important. Okay, so let's just get rid of that. What we got? We got Q&As in there. So fresh air is the guardian zones, okay? Support and resistance zones. So the logic is that, so the other question I've got is the VWAP Predator going to be built into the current ASBs? Now, what we are developing at the moment is a standalone VWAP Predator ASB, because we need to build the logic first to be able to add contracts. Okay, we need to still be following those rules. So it's a reasonably long process. We're 3 weeks into the process now of developing the VWAP Predator automated strategy builder. We've got another 3 weeks left before I get my hands on an initial version that I need to check and look for all the failures, get it redone. So by the end of the year, we'll have a VWAP Predator ASB. Then what we need to do is try to build that in a module, say, for example, the roller coaster in this particular case, to be able to build it in. Now, that comes with other issues. So what we've had to do right now is redesign the core element of the orders and executions of the ASBs. So we're trialing that in the new VWAP Predator ASB. If we can get that working properly and we can add those contracts, and there's some issues that we're getting with some rejected stock market orders, and we're going to build some other redundancies in there with the other ASBs, then what we do is try and add that module into the current ASBs as well. That module will be then, if that will be an option, it will be an option to add. So you'll be able to have the standard ASB, but if you want the premium one with the additional VWAP Predator, but that won't be until, I can't say, March next year to add them, because it takes a long time. We're actually inventing new logic right now to be able to scale in, but also solve some of those issues with orders and entries. So Chris, I hope that answers your question there. On paper, the logic exists, and I've written that logic, and I wrote that logic. It took me 3 or 4 weeks over the summer. We've had development meetings, and it is possible, but the developers had to go away and invent some new things for NinjaTrader to ensure that this works and it doesn't start to crash things and all that sort of thing. So that's where we are with there. So let's go back to determining fresh air, because I think that's very important. Answer live, answer live. Okay, so fresh air. I'm going to go to HG Zone Trader Pro and bring that over because let me move that out of the way over there. That's there, doesn't it? So what we have is the Guardian zones print and follow specific rules that I've been trading for 20 years. What they look for are, at the moment, we've got the 30, the 15, the 5-minute zones printed. So the 5-minute is the native, which is yellow. The cyan are 15, and then the green, if there are any, yes, there's further down, are in green. We can also add 60-minute daily and weekly to those, but at this moment in time, this one's optimized for these particular strategies. So what happens is we really do want to look for those trades that break through. So this is a different type of strategy, but this is a trade that we had the other day. Now, in this situation, what happened was we'd pulled back, we'd found support in and around this 15-minute, and it pushed through. Okay, all 6 time frames were green, lots of fresh air. The next zone up above doesn't even exist because we were at the all-time highs. Okay, so what happens there is takes the trade and you go long. It's as simple as that. Yeah, there was no VWAP Predators on that particular time frame to do that. So one of the things we're discussing at the moment is the logic to have multiple time frame instances. So if we find that the 55 tick Heiken-Ash is really good, backing up the 5 minutes on the Zone Trader Pro, we'd be able to select that time frame, the different time frame, to have those signals. That's very complex. I don't even know if it's even possible. The Slingshot is not built with supply and demand zones. It's a totally different bit of software. The Slingshot for TradingView and the Slingshot for NinjaTrader is standalone. The support and resistance zones for NinjaTrader are called the Guardian zones. They're a totally different piece of software. They don't exist for TradingView right now, but I have somebody that's actually cost me a fortune to try and convert them to TradingView. We are 3 weeks into that, and we're not even sure that it can be done still. Okay, so it's costing me a lot of money, but I'm trying to get there. So, I just wanted to show you that these are the Guardian zones. They're totally automated, and they're actually included in the automated strategy builders on NinjaTrader, as well as the bias Depth Heatmap. Because that's what we look for when we go on the Slingshot. Let me try and find a Slingshot chart. Okay, so when we look at the Slingshot here with the ASB, we are looking for fresh air. Okay, this yesterday hit the max trading drawdown and stopped trading because it took 2 trades yesterday, but it needs fresh air to trade into, guys. Okay, so the price action on CL pushed through this 60-minute zone, hit the 30, came back to test the 60, pushed through, came back to test. Then we got the Slingshot. Okay, and it automatically traded up to target 2. We came back to test here, okay, on the 30. Again, very strong zones, pushed up. We just got an entry and it pulled back, hit the max trading drawdown. So we take there and just took the profit for the day. Okay, there were other trading opportunities later that day, but again, it wouldn't trade because it hit the trading max drawdown. But the idea is you've got fresh air. There's the next 30-minute zone. There were trading opportunities to go up to there. So they are not. No, the Slingshot is not available on Thinkorswim and will never be available on Thinkorswim. We have stopped developing for Thinkorswim because it is very old technology. I actually met Tom Sosnoff quite a few years ago. He invented Thinkorswim and sold it to TD Ameritrade. But the code is very cumbersome. It's very old, and Schwab may even decide to get rid of it in the next 3 or 5 years. So I'm not investing money into TOS anymore. So the Guardian zones, you've got to imagine on the 5-minute time frame, you've got to have a look back period of over 2,500 bars. But you need that on the 15. You need that on the 30. You need that on the 60. So 2,500 times 30 times 30 minutes, okay? It's different. So this is why a look back period is very important when we're looking over a certain amount of time and the data that you need to produce very accurate 30-minute zones, 15-minute zones, 60-minute zones. So in the same 2,500 bars on a 5-minute, there isn't that many 60-minute bars. And that's why we have that look back period, okay? Because it's about the candle look backs. So when you're looking at daily, it's got to look back 2,500 days to get accurate dailies. Now, when you're day trading, you don't necessarily use the daily time frame. When you're swing trading, you do. So it's about, does that answer your question, Brian? It's about how many, what time frames you've got to get really accurate zones. So this is why on the ASBs, we always look back 90 minutes because in predominantly, 90 days, sorry, predominantly we probably go maximum 60-minute timeframes. Yeah, okay. It's a good question. And again, it's all about being able to calculate accurate support and resistance zones on the 60, the 30, and the 15. You need that data of those pivots, of those decision points that institutional traders make on a regular basis or eventually break to take them off, because sometimes we take them off, okay? So if we just click off previous zones there, you'll notice at some point they will be taken away and then new ones are added. This is a new zone here, okay? That starts to print when it becomes relevant. You see how it finds real big resistance and then eventually does break through, but then the 30 is too much for it, okay? Really, really strong. I mean, to be honest, these are a must-have for everybody, okay? So any more questions on scaling in? Because I think it's important to understand that this is how you really start to increase your the value of your trading account by using the VWAP Predator to scale in. And it's all about those confluences and understanding momentum. So let's go back to TradingView a second and look at that. Not until I have got the VWAP Predator. Okay. I don't manually trade anymore. So probably missed out some trades today because I disabled the slingshots on the smaller time frames because they were just simply the market's too twitchy for small time frames right now. So yes, the ideal situation would be for me to manually trade, but I'm very busy, got lots to do, and I have, the idea of, I mean, to be honest, I'm going to be very honest. I was very selfish when I thought of the ASBs because I didn't want to trade manually anymore. So they were for me, not just for everybody else. So there was a bit of selfishness in there. So on Slingshot, these are probability pullback zones. So when we look at this type 1 buy, this type 1 buy here this pivot comes into this zone and finds support in the middle zone. So it's 80% probability it's going to hit target 2. Okay. That's what that pullback zone means. Yeah. So we go back in time and have a look at another one. So this type 2 sell comes into this last zone. 75% is going to hit target 2. I mean, this was a great trade. Okay. You know, type 2 sell, it pushes through target 2, and we get a sell from the VWAP Predator. Add some more, add another contract. Okay. Does that answer your question, Olu? Yeah. So it's about the probability of getting to target 2, because that's where the high probabilities are. So this one, 85% it's going to hit target 2. Look what happened when it hit target 2. It bounced back down again. Very, very solid. Sylvia, yes. On TradingView, I really like them, but you've got to understand what your instrument's about. So Sylvia, you've got to choose one instrument, okay? I'm going to tell you to go away tonight, and you are only allowed to marry one instrument to trade. That way, you will understand and do the homework and understand the behavior of that one instrument. So if it's gold, stick to gold. You're married, you can't get a divorce, okay? If it's silver, if it's euro, US dollar, whatever it is, stick to it. Understand the behavior. Yeah. Once you understand that behavior, and even if it takes you 2 days to figure out which time frame is best for your particular instrument, that is time well worth spent, because that is where you will do most of your trading on the Slingshot. Okay. So Sylvia, what do you trade? Choose one instrument right now, okay? And then I'm going to have to go SPY, okay? That's good. Right, so I'm on the 45 seconds ATR 40. Remember, with ATR, you can change that. So depending on how fast you're going, you might want to change that to 7, 21, or, try and smooth the things out. And what you're looking for when you're back testing is, so sometimes you get pullback zones that don't produce signals. So what you're trying to do when you're back testing is try to look for those time frames that look there. So one thing I want to do on the settings here is just want to go to give me a second. Event session breaks. Just want to put session breaks in there a second. Okay. Because also you obviously you understand that we need, I mean, that's pretty good there. But it's trying to tie up your bias depth heat map. What we got that set on, it's on scalping, probably needs to be on day trading. Witching hour, really good trade. If I know that's Monday the 30th. And that's a pretty good trade there, in that we get the pullback, type 2, type 1 buy. You get to add another buy there, and it goes all the way to the close of the session. That's really good. But what you have to do then is got to look back is, do I get continual trading opportunities? So here we get a type 2 sell and the VWAP Predator sell. It goes and hits target 2. Phenomenal. Okay. But you've got to do your homework. You've got to say, right, it's 45 seconds ATR 14.2. You've got to work it out. So NQ is like being married to a serial killer with bipolar. You will end up dead one day, Jason. You've got to be slower with NQ, okay? Because it's too twitchy. So SPY in reality is not that twitchy, so Sylvia, just to go back to that, you've got to understand it might be that a 3-minute hike in Ashi could be the way to go on SPY. You got to do your homework, okay? You got to understand, put your session breaks on, understand your trading opportunities. So in a month, you would be looking for something like, if you're day trading, 8 to 10 trades a month. Okay. It's about quality, not quantity. The way to find that quality is to spend the time with your instrument and understand how it behaves with the slingshot. Okay. So go back. What questions I ask myself when deciding an instrument? So it's what times a day you can trade. Also, if you're trading automatically, can you sort of do the Overwatch thing? Again, if you're going to choose an index, choose something like ES, YM potentially. Definitely not NASDAQ. I'm not a fan of NASDAQ. People dream big and lose big. Okay. It's just that's one of those things. For me, I've been trading copper 20 years. Yeah, I love copper. It's easy. I know there's real good sessions for copper. London Open for about 90 minutes. Then pre-market, gold pit open for the US, going into to the open of the US. That's it. I know my times of the day. I know when I trade. Okay. And that's been my thing. I never trade on a Friday. So it's about understanding, it's fitting it around your life, but also understanding the risk that's there. So for me, I then migrated to trading oil as well, so copper and oil, because there's lots of correlations with oil and copper. So during the London session, those correlations are positive. During the pre-market session, they're usually a negative correlation between copper and oil. So again, that's understanding that behavior. So, indexes aren't always the way to go because they can be overreactive to other stimulus that we don't really understand. But and that could be sector led with stocks and earnings and things like that. Whereas commodities are the behavior is not necessarily predictable, but you can learn those behaviors in a sensible way, understanding the correlations with the US dollar, with those US data points. For example, copper as well reacts very well during the London Open. A lot of copper traders in Europe. So commodities are more stable, less twitchy, and there's are less outside influences. There's all, with oil, for example, there's OPEC and, missiles and, if Israel hit oil production in Iran, oil's going to go all over the place. But in reality, indexes, you've got to look at sector rotation. You've got to make sure if you're going to trade an index, that all indexes are going in the same direction in the day. If you've got sector rotation in one and it's really strong, it might drag the others down. There's lots of other things with indexes that you've got to take into consideration. So commodities are easier to trade as well. There's no more Vic for Slingshot at the moment. He's got other things ASPs at the moment. He's got other things he needs to do. I can't do it because I just don't have time. I have a third cohort this year starting on the apprenticeship, and there's 5 or 6 in that. And that's a lot of homeworks to mark, there's a lot of time to give to those particular apprentices. But we will, and Gary is looking for somebody else to sort of take over that community-led type of thing for the ASBs. So let's just have a look at NQ, just out of curiosity. Then I'll go because my wife is downstairs and it's 9:10 in the evening here. So NQ, so we're going to go 15-minute most likely. Let's just take off the VWAP Predator for now. Okay, so let's do, no, that's not a great time frame. So we'll go 10 minutes. Are we on Heikenhachi? Yes. Got to find the groove with the serial killer with bipolar. Very difficult. Are you on NinjaTrader, Jason, or TradingView? That makes a big difference, to be honest, because I'll go Renko, 20-minute there. NinjaTrader, okay. I'll have a quick look. I don't know. The data might not load. That's the problem because I've got ASBs running right now. So I'm not gonna break my NinjaTrader and stop those trading for that. But it's about finding the groove, and it really is very difficult with NQ. If I was to give one bit of advice to anybody, and I say this almost every time I come live, is go find something else to trade. NASDAQ, it's so twitchy. And this is why I keep saying these things about it, because it's very hard to predict that behavior. ES makes probably just as much money. But to be honest, I've made 7 figures easy with copper. It's slower, it's easier to understand. You get the big moves. I've got FDAX. I showed you that FDAX the other day. Okay, that's a slower instrument, but it made another trade today. It's a $2,000 trade today. The trade before. So this particular strategy performance, we need to do a little bit of work on this. But this has traded 14 times in the last 90 days. It's got 92% win rate, $21,000 profit. Who needs NQ? Okay. There's lots of other instruments out there that are easier to be able to understand the behavior. So what I'm trying to say is that NQ sort of breeds the fact that, oh, it moves massively, we can win loads of money, but it can move against you that fast. You can lose lots of money. The idea is to try and find an instrument that is going to give you consistent profits, and you are able to understand the behavior easier, and that behavior repeats itself over and over again on those support and resistance zones using the Guardian zones there. You know, understanding that it does respect that support and resistance very well, in that it only reacts to certain stimulus from economic data, not you know, Elon Musk caught his pants down or something like that. That's the thing. So yeah, Jason, please, I mean, look at copper. Okay, I've been in the copper club for so long, it's unbelievable. Purely because it is so tradable, and a lot of people, you know. So I had a guy on the second cohort of the apprenticeship. He came on and he chose his instrument as a yes. Okay, so as part of the apprenticeship, you have to choose your instrument in the first few weeks, and you get married to that instrument. He very quickly changed to copper. Okay, and he can understand that. But he's heading to FDAX, that one particular strategy. So with copper, it's very, very predictable. Okay. So if I had the extra module here on Zone Trader Pro, for example, breaking through this zone here, look at these additions I can have on this point here. There was no additions on this one. That's fine. But it was a very, very good trade. When we look at the range breakout for copper, oh, it is phenomenal. Okay. So we've only got longs at the moment on copper. We're just doing the long range breakouts. And I run this live. Okay. So this is not the right data. What am I looking at here? Oh, this is the sim account trialing something else. But this has got a 100% win rate. Okay. So copper is very easy to trade. So again, scaling. Let's just remind yourself before I go that it's the VWAP Predator that enables you to scale, and that's without a doubt something you really should be sort of taking into consideration. I am going to put the link in there if you haven't got the VWAP Predator already. I know those that are on the TradingView Slingshot Special Edition, because we haven't got those Guardian Zones. We've given you 6 months access to the VWAP Predator as well, with that Slingshot. So if you've already got that, that's fine. If not, it's available for 4 platforms: MotiveWave, NinjaTrader, Thinkorswim, and TradingView. Okay. And one of the biggest things here is it relies on volume data. So if you're a Forex trader, please ensure that your broker provides volume data. If they don't, sack the broker and get another. Okay. It's very important to understand that volume is 50% of the story. Price action is the other 50%. Okay. So to understand behavior, you need volume and price action. Okay, so I'm going to get going, guys. Thank you very much for attending today. This will be, it has been recorded, and we are ready to go for another month. So I will be around to answer questions on Discord or on Teams for those on Teams. But I will be a little bit sketchy over the next week or so because my second grandchild is due. Okay, but I'm always available. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, everybody, and I'll speak to you all next month.